In the summer of 2021, Messi broke every single Barcelona fan's heart when he announced that he's not going to be renewing his contract. This was because at the time Barcelona were in really deep financial trouble. They'd spent a hell of a lot of money on like contracts from new players like Griezmann, Rafinha, Pjanic, and all those other guys. And then because of the financial fair play rules that La Liga was putting into place at that exact time, the money that they had already spent and the money that they were spending on active contract made it pretty much impossible for them to offer Messi a new contract. So he ended up going to PSG on a 2-year contract worth about 60 million where he played up until recently. He had a fairly okay time in PSG. Didn't have an amazing 2 seasons. It didn't have an amazing season and a half. It was pretty okay, I guess. He's Messi. But then now, just recently, when was this? 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, big news broke out that Lionel Messi was suspended by PSG, right? Fully suspended, meaning he wasn't going to be playing games, he wasn't going to be training, wasn't even allowed at any of the PSG facilities for 2 weeks. And that's basically because he took what the club refers to as an unauthorized trip to Saudi Arabia, right? So basically what happened was PSG had a game on the weekend, and then the coach, the managers told the players that if they had won the game, then that they'd get 2 days off, being Sunday and Monday, I think. But then PSG lost 3-1 at home, so that didn't happen. But I guess Messi didn't cancel his trip. The news is that because he had cancelled the trip so many times before, he thought he just wasn't going to cancel this time, and he ended up going to Saudi anyway. And PSG wasn't happy about it, so they suspended him. They suspended him for 2 weeks, which is not that bad if you're Messi, I guess, because let's be honest, he wasn't having that great of a time at PSG. He wasn't really enjoying his football. PSG was never the greatest fit for Messi in any case. I mean, I don't think a lot of people thought this whole situation was going to last to begin with. It was never brought up to be something long term. It was never like something that was going to be long term, and the cracks started to show pretty early, I guess. So yeah, he got suspended 2 weeks ago, right? He was already doubtful in terms of renewing his contract, but now that PSG went outright and suspended him, it's looking pretty shady. I'm not even gonna lie, This suspension, I'm not even gonna lie, has busted the door open for a lot of possibilities. Before this happened, my prediction would have been just that, drama goes back and forth, but then Messi ends up signing a 1 or 2 year contract extension or something like that. Before this happened, I always felt like Messi was just gonna sign a contract extension, regardless of any other drama that happens around PSG. But now that this has happened, now that they downright like suspended him, I don't see that happening. I mean, now that I'm recording this, he's back. I think he's gonna start in the next game. But still, when the contract expires in June, July, whenever that is, I don't think he's gonna sign a new one, man. I don't see him being comfortable and happy enough to stay in the French league as a whole. Like, he's probably not going to move into the Saudi league. There have been rumors of him moving into the Saudi league, and we're going to talk about places that he might move to in just a few. But in terms of like staying at PSG, I don't see that working out now that PSG has gone out and made it clear that they don't see Messi as this anything other than a player. I mean, they've shown that if he's gonna shit on them, they're gonna treat him just like any other player, whether he's Messi or not. So that being the case, I really don't see him staying at PSG. In terms of where he might end up at the beginning of next season, unless some miracle comes through, I really don't see him signing a contract extension with PSG. One thing I do know for sure is that he has said that he wants to stay in Europe. He wants to play in the Champions League again next season. He wants to play for a Champions League side, which automatically rules out any Saudi league moves. So he probably won't be linking up with Ronaldo in the Saudi league, which is something a lot of people have been talking about lately. Another possibility that I really don't like any of these possibilities for Messi's future. I mean, I'm not a very big Messi fan. I like him as a footballer, but beyond that, I'm not a very big fan. But the other one is Man City. One of the other big theories is that he could go to Man City. Obviously, Man City being one of the most financially capable teams in the Premier League, owned by one of the Saudi sheiks or whatever. That's one of the possibilities. How do I feel about that? Terrible, obviously. I mean, I think anyone who's not a Man City fan doesn't want this to happen. I mean, Messi and Pep Guardiola reuniting on this particular Man City team is just something that should not be allowed in football. Okay, I'm not even going to talk about why this is going to be a cheat code, but no, God, no. And the other big one is the obvious homecoming at Barcelona, right? A potential homecoming at Barcelona. How do I feel about Messi potentially going back to camp now? I feel better about him going back to camp now than about him going to Man City. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't feel comfortable with Messi joining Man City. Nah. I feel way better about him finishing his career with Barcelona. Not that much better, because I'm not someone who likes those homecoming stories, just like what happened with Ronaldo when he went back to Man United. Again, I'm not a huge not a huge Ronaldo fan in this debate, so I'm more of a neutral. But the whole thing of a player leaving a club that he grew up at, and then now coming back at the end of his career, it just doesn't seem to end well, if I could say that, for a lot of players. I guess I'm not saying it won't end well if Messi goes back to Barcelona, but like if Messi were to go back to Barcelona, let me put it like this: if he were to go back to Barcelona now and then it doesn't go as well as he hoped, it would be like a really annoying stain at the end of his career. You know what I mean? It would be really like unfortunate for him to stain his career right at the end, because winning the World Cup is the perfect way for Messi to end his career, no cap. Right? So if he goes back to Barcelona now and ends his career with some sort of drama or anything like that, it's just gonna look bad. Okay, we've already seen it happen to Ronaldo. We don't want to see it happen on a much bigger scale with Messi. Okay, I don't like the guy any more than anyone else, but like I just don't want to see that happening, genuinely. Besides that, I really don't know where he could end up at this point. He literally could be going anywhere, which makes this particular transfer case very interesting, because Messi is one of the biggest stars if not the biggest star in football right now, and the case of his career being so what's the word I'm looking for? Unpredictable at this stage of the season, going into next season. It's pretty crazy, man. It's pretty crazy. So let me know where you think he'll end up next season in the comment section.